All right, I'm back. I'm using this white jade. It's a Chinese white. It's relatively inexpensive, and it's translucent white. It does bubble up pretty easily, so you got to be mindful of that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make the body of the bird, and I'm going to pull off the end here, which is a little bit funky. I'm going to give myself enough to make the head of the bird, but the body of the bird is going to be a little bit bigger diameter than what this rod is. And this rod, I believe, is 12 millimeter. You can buy this jade glass in a couple different sizes. I think the smallest you can get it is 7, and then the biggest is, I think it comes in like 35. It's ridiculous. I don't know what people do with that. But 12, 12 is a nice size if you're making sculptures. I use this to make snowmen, and I'm going to be making the snowman in another video on the lathe with this stuff. I don't know how I'm going to set up my camera because you can see my lathe is right here. This is a piece of, I think that's 13 or 14 millimeter in there in the lathe. And if I'm working on the lathe, I can't be aiming my torch at my phone camera. So I'm just gathering up some glass for the body. I'm keeping this other piece of glass warm because that's going to be the head. And I'm just letting that, I'm letting gravity do the work. A lot of times I just rest the rod on the bench and just heat up at the underneath of the ball, and it will just gather up. Great thing about glass is it wants to gather up on itself, and we use gravity to help us with that. And then once we got what we think is a pretty decent sized body, and we want it to be a smooth transition from a ball to the rod. So I'm getting a pretty decent sized ball, and then I will use gravity the other way and just let it kind of come down a little bit. Now I'm heating up the piece of glass for the head. Pass that on there like so. Remove what I don't need. You know, how you separate the glass is kind of up to you. I like to use the kind of this going around in circle method to get it off of there. That usually works for me. And then you just heat and the glass will shrink back. I mean, you're starting off with something that looks like a, I don't know what that looks like. It certainly does not look like the head of a bird, but you just keep heating it and it will shrink on itself. And as long as you don't get it too hot, you won't get any bubbles. And you just keep heating it until it goes to where you want it to go. You just got to know when to stop, because if you keep heating it, that little head will just become part of the body, and you won't be able to see the delineation between the head and the body. As hummingbirds go, I would say the head on this is probably a little bit bigger than I want. I may take some off, and when I do that, I'm going to take it off with, I'm going to pull it off with a pair of tweezers, because I could use this, but I'm saving this for the beak, and I want to mess it up, because making the beak is like a critical point. So I'm just going to get a pair of tweezers and I'm just going to pull off. And you know, this, like I said, this stuff is very, very viscous. Slowly heat it back up, and that little point that I made, just let that go back into a ball, because you want it to be a ball. You want, you know, you essentially got two balls. One ball's the body, one ball's the head. All right, now I'm going to attach this piece for the beak, and then I'm going to pull off what, you know, where the tail is going to be. So let me get, oh, and the other thing is, make sure everything is lined up nicely. So when you put your nose on there, you're getting it right in the center of the bird's head, not off to the side. And because this is a hummingbird, you want to be mindful not to blob too much glass on there. You really just want a very, very thin amount of glass. I think you can see that. And then we're going to start pulling off what is going to become the tail. We're going to do the tail last. I'm just rotating it around. Once I got it warmed up, I can start pulling it thinner, but just be mindful that you want everything lined up nicely. Oh, sometimes that happens, your thing comes off. All right, well, things in, you know, when you're doing videos, you gotta be mindful that things don't always turn out the way you want them to. But this is good. I mean, we're still good. We got the body, we got the head, we got the nose, and we're gonna put the wings on there next. The first video I made was about 7 or 8 minutes. This one's about 7 or 8 minutes. I'm going to turn it off now, and then I'm going to attach the wings. Probably going to be another 7 or 8. This is like, I don't know, a 20-minute process, maybe 30 minutes by the time it's all finished. But, you know, once it's done, then you can, you know, you spend 30 minutes on a piece of glass. The glass is cheap. The gas and oxygen's cheap. Oxygen's cheap. You could probably sell this thing for $40, depending on where your market is. Yeah. Make a bunch of these, and you know, they look great on the Christmas tree. So, next steps.